this your actual phone?
Yep, 29902. Cool.
Why?
Because I'm getting the weather.
That's actually kind of awesome. When do
You, I mean, you could start. Okay, let's get these lights on in here. Lights, 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 lights. Control P. Release the parking brake. Or no, it's Shift P. There we go. We are backing up, my friend.
All right.
All right,
This is
so
it.
let's open the right valve. Let's get that NOS up to 24. Add that fuel in.
We've already started, by the way. I'm taking this in.
All right. It is on and stabilized. Let's start the left engine.
So, why don't you tell the people what you're doing right now?
All right, so we are in a CRJ 700. This is going to be me and Doctor's first podcast, or Flightcast, as we're going to call it.
This is episode 1 of Flightcast, people.
Right now, I am the one flying the airplane, so
I'm just sitting back and just relaxing.
So everything that you see is what I am doing.
So Flightcast is a cool little idea that we thought of. We thought, well, wouldn't it be cool? We can do a podcast, and we're just gonna have as the background Microsoft Flight Simulator X, the Steam edition, going. We're doing a flight from where are we going?
We're going from Denver to North Platte, Nebraska, just because we can.
Just because we can.
Yeah.
So we both like just to, I guess as an intro to this podcast, both Brent and I really like airplanes. I'm looking at going into the Air Force or possibly Air National Guard. I'm going to look at other opportunities as well. But Brent, what are you doing right now with
I am actually a pilot in real life. So or I am a pilot in training in real life, so I'm a student pilot technically at the moment.
He's also kind of Megatron.
Yeah, apparently so.
Pay no attention.
Pay no attention, right.
So the Flightcast is a cool little idea that we thought of. I always really liked the idea of doing a podcast of my own, and I got Brent to join me in. This is going to
fly the airplane.
And fly the airplane for me. So this is going to be episode 1. This first episode, we're going to be talking about our personal experiences with both consoles and PC, gaming-wise and other utility-wise. Keep in mind, everything that we're going to say is our own opinions and our own experiences, so take those with a grain of salt. But yeah, it's how long of flight we're looking at?
Once I get in the air, I will tell you.
All right, you're gonna kick her up to full speed, like pedal to metal, right?
Once we get onto the runway, yeah.
Okay, so do you wanna start now, or do you wanna wait until you're actually in the air?
Let's wait until we get into the air because this part kind of requires some concentration. So.
All right, so bring us through your train of thought right now. What are you doing right now?
Well, right now I am combining my pilot skills. As Sam heard, he might include that into the intro of the video.
It's already in there.
I actually got the real life weather on my phone. If you go on to kdenairnav.com, I think is what it is. Yeah, you can find the ATIS weather, and then they'll give you a phone number next to it, and that calls the actual on terminal or on airport weather station. So yeah. So I got the real weather right now. I am looking both at my in-game Garmin GPS 500 and my real life phone, looking at the actual plate, FAA published plates for the airport.
Everything that you're saying is going over my head right now.
Yeah.
You can layman's term this.
So basically, I'm looking at the map of the airport, trying to figure out how to get. We are going to take off on 16 right, which is down really far away. So these lights, I believe, over here are for 16 left, coming up here just off to our left. They're the Vizzy coming into it, I think is what they're called. Remember, I'm a student pilot, so if I get stuff wrong, I'm a student pilot.
Oh my gosh. Is this how boring, like, real... Is this, like, how long it actually takes to take off?
Oh, yeah. You can't... I mean, it takes a while.
What aircraft are we in again?
We are in a CRJ 700. This is basically what a regional airline flies for.
So it's just like a... How many passengers can you hold in this thing?
Passenger-wise, I think 80. 87.
80?
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's standard, I guess.
Yep.
Well, it's standard for, like a smaller flight.
Smaller flight, yep. So, if for those of you that are watching this because you're interested in flying, once you get past all your flight training and everything, you'll probably end up at regional airlines. So you'll probably end up flying something like this. This is what I'll probably go up to when I get out of my training.
That is before we buy that big boy.
Before we buy that C-130.
We're gonna buy a C-130. We're gonna fuck bitches all night long.
That, and the reason why this is taking so long is because Denver is a very, very much so big airport, and it's very much so laid out. So Denver is actually, just a fun fact for everyone, Denver is the newest airport or newest international airport in the country.
Oh, it's an international airport.
Right,
oh,
Denver
geez.
International. Yep. Why I chose to take off from an international airport, I will never know, but I did. So.
All right. So what are we going to be talking about in the podcast today? We're going to be talking about our experiences with consoles and PCs, gaming wise and otherwise.
Right. So just so everyone knows kind of the background that we have, Sam and I both met on the Xbox 360. This was before we were big computer or anything like that.
We should back up a little bit further even.
Back up further?
Like, okay. I was living in a town, and I had some friends, believe it or not. I actually had friends. And then I moved away, and the same time that I moved away, Brent moved into the town that I moved away from. So he made friends with all my other friends. And so I was still talking to these guys on Xbox. And so I was talking to my friends that I actually knew. And here comes this guy, Brent. Never met him before. And I didn't like him either. Me and Brent did not like each other. But we actually played with each other. We played, okay, that sounds weird, right?
We played with each other, yeah.
We played Battlefield for how much, like what? 4 or 5 years.
Oh yeah.
Every single day.
Battlefield 3. Just gotta make sure we get that out there.
On the Xbox 360. So I've had an Xbox 360 for 6 or 7 years, somewhere around there, and I've been playing on my PC here for about 3 or 4 years now. So I have some experience there. I have some background on both the PC end and the console end. And I've also played on the PlayStation. We had an original PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3. So
your family kind of is on entire... So you've played on PlayStation and Xbox then?
Yep. We're like, well, we can talk about this. You know, a lot of people like go out and they say, oh, well, console is the absolute way to go, or PC is the absolute way to go. And I personally think, you know, there are definitely pros and cons to each PC and console. So that's, you know, we figure we can talk about that. We can talk about what we think, our experiences on it, and then if you'd like to chime down what you guys think in the comments below, go ahead.
Well, according to in-game weather, it's not lining up with real game weather because the windsock's pointing the wrong direction.
Does that surprise you?
Not really. So we're going to be taking off not into the wind, but you know what? It's a game. Fuck it. We'll be okay.
It's a video game.
Yeah.
It's a video game that came out in 2007.
Yeah, right.
When this game came out.
That's actually one hell of a cross. Or is there no wind? There is no wind. All right, so it really don't matter. I don't give a shit. And you can hear Sam scrolling through his iPad because
I got an iPad just so I can keep track of what we're doing on this podcast here. Microsoft Flight Sim X came out October 10th of 2006. So yeah, this is definitely an older game. So
definitely.
So as you can see right here, this invisible seat is actually Brent. You can imagine. Yep. You can use your imagination.
Yeah.
Are we gonna actually take off at some point here?
Yeah, I gotta cross this one way. Clear on the left, clear on the right. All right.
Oh, there's nobody else in this game. Take off.
You want me to take off? We can take off on this runway. I don't give a shit.
This guy's... All right. So where do you want to start? Console PC wise, where do you want to start, Brent?
Oh, where do I want to start?
Let's start with your background. When did you start playing video games?
I started playing video games, I think, when I was...
What was your first video game that you ever played?
First video game that I've ever played was Lego Star Wars, the original one on the Nintendo GameCube.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, I gotta go to my pilot skills real quick.
Gotta line her up.
Line her up, and then we're gonna do a short field takeoff.
One of the first video games that I can recall, actually, I don't remember what the game itself was, but it was a flight game. It was for
really, it was a flight game.
It was for the original PlayStation, and it wasn't like this. It wasn't like a simulator because they didn't really have simulators, back then. That wasn't a big thing. It was more of a tricks kind of thing. You would have to fly through these circles, these rings that are in the air, and then you'd fly through them, and if you could spin, you get a bonus points for doing spins or barrel rolls or tricks and whatnot. Other than that, I remember playing a lot of Spyro the Dragon on PlayStation.
The Dragon.
PlayStation 1 was like where I started off. I didn't get an Xbox until maybe like 5th or 6th grade. And then the reason that actually brought me into Xbox is Halo. I was hanging out with my friend Alan over at his house, and he showed me a game. The first Halo experience that I actually had was Halo Wars, which probably wasn't like the greatest, the greatest Halo game ever. Now I'm looking back at it, but it definitely piqued my interest. And when I found out you couldn't play that on PlayStation, I didn't have the concept of exclusives. I didn't know why you couldn't play that on specific consoles.
Right.
But that definitely pushed me towards getting an Xbox, as well as all my friends had Xboxes, and I wanted to play with my friends. So.
Right. So. The reason why I remember we were a big Nintendo family for a long time. Like we got the GameCube, and then when the Wii first came out, we got the Wii.
Oh yeah.
And then we went over to one of our friends' house and played on one of the original Xbox 360s, like one of the first ones. Models anyway. Not one of the first Xbox 360s, but one of the first model Xbox 360s, and we played Call of Duty 3, the World War II one. And that's how I got started on Xbox 360. And then when we got the Xbox 360, and then a couple of years later we got where the Xbox One came out. So.
And that's what you have right now,
as
right. Well as your PC as well.
As well as the PC, but I hardly ever play on the Xbox One. I mean, it's very rare. I think I've played on it like 3 times.
But it's like a family console.
It is a family console, very much so.
Yeah. So we actually we got the PlayStation 2 right when it came out. We got the PlayStation 3. Of course, both of those we probably went through 2 PlayStation 2s and like 3 or 4 PlayStation 3s. And we haven't even gotten a PlayStation 4 yet, but we have a PlayStation 3 sitting in the living room right now. I think my sister's actually playing on it right now. And so it's still a family thing. It's still, family game console. And the Xbox that I got was, just mine. I just got it just so I could play with my friends essentially. And that's where I diverged off.
That's where you diverged off.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Just so everyone knows what's happening in the cockpit right now, we are level at 16,000 feet, or we're climbing through 16,000 feet. I have just engaged the autopilot, so I am now hands-free. So I can now talk for the rest of the flight until it's time to land. So yay.
So this is what flying's like. It's not like you're flying the Millennium Falcon and you're doing like barrels and whatnot.
Well,
we're not going to talk about.
Plane that I fly in real life doesn't have autopilot, so nothing like this. But yeah, that's how I got started on Xbox 360 or Xbox period. So I never really played PlayStation before.
You did have a PlayStation Portable though.
Yeah, PSP. But
what games did you have for the PlayStation Portable?
Star Wars: The Force Unleashed.
Ooh, yeah.
Ace Combat, Medal of Honor. Oh, I had some other ones too.
I can't really remember what games I had for my PSP. I lost my PSP when I moved. I haven't seen it since.
Yeah, the like portable gaming console things I think have really taken a hit just because of phones. You can do so much on your phone. Definitely. It's not even funny.
I have the new Game Boy, the 3DS, mainly just for Pokemon. I'm really big on my Pokemon, but that's a story for a different day. That's a discussion for a different day. So now that we're actually up here, let's dive into these topics, shall we? So let's start off with consoles. We said we both started off with consoles in one way or another. What do you think? Let's just start off really basic, really generic. Consoles versus PCs. What pros do you think consoles have over PCs? Specifically, I'll just say this. I think they're definitely much easier to use. You go out.
I definitely agree with that.
You go out. You go to Target. You buy yourself a game console. You buy a couple games. You shove it right on your, right next to your TV. You plug it in, and you're already playing right there.
Right. Exactly. I would definitely agree with that. And we even have a friend that's very much so on consoles just because of the ease of use of them.
Yep. Alan just really has bad luck with PCs. He had.
I was gonna say his name, but okay.
He's gotten PCs that just. I feel bad for him because it makes he thinks that all PCs are really bad and they're all super hard to use, or you have to be some sort of genius whiz to use them. But he got really unlucky with getting a PC and then it breaking down on him and not being able to work, and so
right.
That's another ease of use. Obviously, if we're not gonna go too far into we not just yet. We're not gonna go into too far into it, but when we start hitting cons, we can talk about obviously big one, Red Ring of Death, but
right, yeah,
but that's with cons on console, there's cons on PC as well. But let's just go back to pros. We already mentioned it too. Exclusives. There are some of the, like I said, Halo. One of my favorite game series is Halo, and playing on a PC, you can get Halo 1 and you can get Halo 2, and that's what you can get for Halo on PC.
Unless they come out with the X or Windows X thing where you can play Xbox games or something like that.
They did say that they're bringing Windows 10. They want to bring they want to make it more relevant to make people want to upgrade to Windows 10. It's a free upgrade right now, and I still haven't even upgraded my PC. I didn't find any need to upgrade my PC to Windows 10 just yet.
That's another thing that I guess we could bring up, the difference between you always have to know your operating software and
Yeah.
everything.
So like, you know, with consoles, it's easy. You just plug it in, you just start playing. Very very much easier to use. What other good exclusives do you personally just love on consoles, whether it be PlayStation or Xbox?
Well, I know that there's a new one that last year it was Xbox had the deal with the Call of Duty series where they got the new DLCs, everything a week early.
Oh, yep.
This year it's the PlayStation that has, or Sony, I guess I would say, has the deal where they get all the DLCs a week early.
Oh, really? For Call of Duty?
Right.
Oh, I didn't. That's actually something I didn't really knew.
Yeah.
No.
I just kind of found that interesting.
That's definitely interesting. So there's
Yeah.
there's pros for each. We're not really gonna be talking about one console versus another console.
Right.
I'm just talking about consoles as a whole versus kind of PC as a whole. Let's see, some of these exclusives, you know, are a little bit less known. Some of them are a little bit more well known. Blacklight Retribution it's a console exclusive.
Okay.
It's a very interesting looking game. That's a PlayStation 4 exclusive actually. I have Wikipedia open. This is, so if any of this information is wrong. Little Big Planet. Right. Little Big Planet is a very big one that a lot of people really like. And also,
I've never seen Little Big Planet before.
Oh, it's my sister was really into it at one point, and I haven't really played too much of it, but I did play a little bit. It's pretty interesting. It's very very interesting. It's very cool looking as well. I just never really got into it, which I'm sad that I didn't get into it because I'm pretty sure I would have liked it a lot.
Yeah.
The Last of Us. Have you seen any gameplay of The Last of Us?
I've seen The Last of Us. Yes. That's on Xbox, right?
It's PlayStation only.
Really?
Yep. It's you won Game of the Year with some different a lot of people hand out their own Game of the Year awards. Right. So
yeah.
But definitely, I played it through. I also watched people play it through, and it's a lot of people really really love the story. It's really great at telling a story. I personally love The Last of Us story. Naughty Dog really hit it out of the park with that one, but some of these other ones.
So you've actually played it then? I
have played. I bought it for PlayStation 3, and I did play through it.
Okay. And
cool. I'm not going to talk about the story, obviously.
Right, obviously. It was about that.
It was definitely a really awesome story, but it's an exclusive, and honestly, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't know if there's any numbers on this, but there's definitely people who bought a PlayStation just for The Last of Us. People bought the PlayStation 4 as opposed to the PlayStation 3 for like for the remastered edition.
Yeah, right. I've heard of that too.
There's obviously Wii U. Nintendo has a lot of exclusives. Super Smash Bros. People love Super Smash. I never played Super Smash Bros, but I love it.
Just kind of getting off topic here. What do you think of Nintendo doing like their copyright thing where no one can film their games?
Well, people do it anyways.
Right.
I don't really know how hard they get hit, or the people filming, that is, get hit for copyright. I don't know how hard really.
Right, because I think we could get or your video, because I'm not recording this right now. I decided on focusing on flying instead of trying to record and fly at the same time. So, but I think we could get copyrighted for just saying like Mario or something like that.
I don't know about that. Just saying the word Mario?
I don't know. It could get us flagged.
Well, I hope not.
I hope not. Otherwise, we're gonna have to redo this video.
Oh, hey guys, we're starting out. No, I'm just kidding. Mario Kart, Mario Party.
Yeah.
all these other games, obviously, they're Nintendo exclusives. Nintendo has a lot of good games, a lot of really fun games. If you're telling me that right now you've never played Mario Kart, I'll tell you right now, you're missing out on your childhood.
Oh, I've played Mario Kart. Mario Kart is fun.
Also, Mario Kart on the DS is a lot different from Mario Kart on the Wii.
I love Mario Kart on the Wii.
People don't think it's really that different, but it's definitely. And my experience with Mario Kart on the Wii is a lot more limited. I never had a Wii, and our family never had a Wii or whatnot. But I would go over to a friend's house and we'd play Mario Kart, or sometimes the school, they would bring a Wii, and like when we're getting to the end of the year and we're sitting in choir and we don't have any concerts left. So we just go to choir just to basically do nothing. Sometimes the teacher would bring a Wii and we'd be playing Mario Kart, and it was just definitely I don't know, it's a lot different than playing on the DS. And DS it's more of a handheld console, the Game Boys and whatnot, but they also have their own exclusives, Pokemon.
Yep.
And there are emulators, and we're gonna get to that once we start talking about the PC more, but
Yeah. I guess we could start talking about the PC a little bit. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me, I don't really remember why I wanted the PC. I mean, I had a 3-year-old laptop at the time. This is when, I've had my computer now. So maybe about 3 years ago, I wanted a nice PC, because I mean, I've had laptops and everything in the past. But I wanted a PC because you could play so many more games on there and add mods and stuff to it.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. We still got some more that we can talk about the consoles though first.
The consoles? Okay, I was gonna start comparing. So.
well, we got plenty of time. This flight's still gonna go on for a while.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, I just wanted to touch on like a couple. Well, like obviously there's a giant list of exclusives that I can keep going on, but just to name off a couple really more popular ones, if we start talking about Xbox, Forza, Gears of War, obviously we already said Halo.
I think talking about Xbox, Halo is the biggest one out there.
Definitely, it's big one for me too, because I'm gonna be completely honest. Before I heard, I did hear about what you said earlier, that Microsoft was planning on releasing the newer Halo games, or like the Halo, even the Master Chief Collection, on Windows 10 for Windows 10 users. I heard that they were going to do that, and before I heard that they were going to do that, I was legitimately thinking about buying myself an Xbox One for Halo, and Halo only. It almost sold the console to me. And
the biggest thing that almost sold me the console was both my friends in Minnesota, Ian and Alan, were getting one for Christmas.
Yeah.
So I knew that they wouldn't be getting on the 360 that much anymore. And I really didn't want to spend $500 to buy one.
And they weren't going to go over to PC anytime soon.
No.
So do you want to talk about there are more pros. If we come by more, if we think of more things, we can come back to it. But do you want to talk about the PC pros, or do you want to talk about the console cons first?
I guess we could talk about console cons.
So, I think this right here could be a pro or a con for some people. Definitely price point. So
price point. Yep.
I like I said, this could be a pro or a con, and we're going to talk about it's also a pro or a con for PC as well, but we're going to get to that later. Price point, they definitely they're kicking it up. And with the more powerful systems, all this other junk we're going to talk about, more powerful systems come out every couple years or whatever, and price of the dollar, inflation and whatnot. The prices are reasonable. They're very, very reasonable. And this is, when we start talking about PCs, we're going to talk about go back to the console price point and say it's actually could be a pro as well.
Right.
But for consoles, you have the standard edition, and you can maybe get a nicer exclusive edition of the console that you're buying. But otherwise, you're stuck to one price point. You pay that price. Most, if not all, games, especially the bigger games, the bigger titles that you're going to be getting, are all $60.
Yep.
And even the PlayStation 4 started doing this, and I was really kind of sad that the PlayStation 4 came out and said that they were going to do this. But
oh yeah,
you have to pay for multiplayer. Yeah. If you want to play multiplayer, you have to pay to have an account, and that's just that was a big selling point to sell a PlayStation rather than buying an Xbox. Is you didn't have to pay for your online account to play with your friends.
Right, and that was I remember I had a friend who had a PS3, and he loved that he didn't have to pay for the PlayStation Network. Or is that what it was called before the PS4?
It's PlayStation Network.
Okay. Yeah, he loved that he didn't have to pay for it, and he thought that was the way the PS4 went. And I told him, no, that's not the way it's going to be, because I don't know. I guess PlayStation wanted to compete with Xbox.
I mean, it's not necessarily. I don't want to say it's a bad idea, but it wasn't a good idea in my opinion. I'm not really big on that idea though.
For paying for something?
Yeah, paying. And like if we're also going to talk about this real quick, like if you want to play a game like Elder Scrolls Online, right? You have to buy yourself a console or some way to play it on. You have to, if you're playing on a console, you have to buy your online, and also, and this is more picking at the game itself. You have to, and they changed this too. You had to pay for a monthly service for the game itself. So, like, and this is picking on the game, not necessarily on consoles themselves. They changed it too. They changed it so you don't have to pay to play anymore. It's free membership. But like before, if the game was an online game only, Elder Scrolls Online, and you had to pay to make an account. And if you're playing on console, you already had to pay for your Xbox or PlayStation account as well.
Right.
On top of that, so when you start talking about you have to pay for your games, you have to pay for your console, you have to pay for your account, and it starts to add up, especially if you're gonna be I mean it starts to add up, but we're gonna get back to price point being actually a pro for consoles as well.
Yeah.
Any other console cons?
Console cons. I mean, up until the Xbox One, they really had one purpose and one purpose only, and that was for gaming.
Yes, but now
that can be a good thing too.
Yeah, because it appeals to a specific audience. They know what they're going for. They can, if they have this one audience, then they can tailor their product to just gaming, and they can make it as good as they can, as opposed to having to worry about all this other stuff.
And I think that's what brings the price up there so much.
Because now with these new ones, it's not all just games. They want you to do everything on there.
They want the new ones to replace the PC, which
they want you Xbox One. They want you to watch all of your TV on Xbox One. They want you to do all of your internet browsing on your Xbox One. They want you to control your social security number with your Xbox One. They don't want to do that. But like now they're adding all these cool features, and I feel people do use them, but how much are people actually using all these features compared to while they're using this, they're not able to specifically try to make their one thing better. They're trying to instead add on. They could have tried to make it so their frame rate wasn't capped at 30 FPS, or they could have tried to make it so the games ran smoother, or specific games weren't optimized poorly, and that's more on the developer's part than on the console's part.
Right.
But instead now they're not worrying about fixing what they could be fixing. Now they're worrying about adding more stuff to try to sell the console. And in my mind, if they would have made it so, their games could run at 60 frames per second instead of 30 frames per second capped. If they could get, obviously they with the power of the Xbox One, they can have much bigger games, and there's a lot more power in the Xbox One than there is in the Xbox 360.
Definitely.
But they could have focused more on even getting more power. If you can get 60 frames per second, you can get more power, you can get bigger games, and all this other cool stuff. That would definitely sell it to me more than you can Skype with your friends and you can watch YouTube videos and all this other, because they already had Netflix and they already had YouTube on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. PlayStation 3 at the very least, not really at Xbox 360. Well, you could have apps. They had the Netflix app and whatnot.
Yeah,
but they try to focus too much on that as opposed to what they originally made the consoles for was gaming, and they're not really focusing just on, which could be a good thing that they're not just focusing on that.
Yeah,
it's all subjective. So this is our opinion still. So
right. Another thing, I mean, there's something that I would like to point out. I heard somewhere that the PlayStation 3 had more power in it than any game that came out could really test it, if that makes sense.
That's probably more on the game developer side,
right?
But then this is where the exclusives come in. With if you're a game developer and one system has more power than the other, but you want to sell your game as much as possible, you want to sell it to both consoles. So you have to take the lowest common denominator. You have to say, well, first off, Wii's way down here compared to the other two. I'm not actually saying that, but they would look at all the consoles that they could release the game on, and they'd say, well, these specific consoles are way too low, so we're not even going to worry about releasing the games on there. So we can release it on Xbox and PlayStation. Which one has more power than the other? Right about now, I think they're actually fairly even.
Fairly even. The PlayStation 4 may have a little bit more, but
I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah. All right. I think it might be a good idea to switch over to PC because we're over halfway there.
We are? All right. Yeah. So we just to I don't know conclude what I was basically saying is, the game developers would have to pick the console that had the like a lower amount of power, and then they could restrict it to just that. And really quickly, one of my more favorite games, Fallout New Vegas, was one of my more favorite games. A lot of people really don't like that game compared to the other Fallouts, but I actually really loved it. It had a lot of limitations, not only like limitations because I know their development cycle was way pushed back, and Obsidian made it instead of Bethesda Game Studios, and they only had so many years and whatnot, but a lot of limitations were set because they were making it in the older consoles. And if you look at Fallout 4, which came out on the brand new consoles, it has way more everything because they had a lot more power to work with. So now, talking about that, we can switch over to PC. If you want to talk about a lot more power to work with, PC is virtually what's the word I want to say? It's
you really don't have a ton of bounds to a PC.
Limitless. It's virtually limitless for game creation. When I say about that, people when they're building a computer and they're talking about their gaming computer and they're showing the specs of it and how it runs games. What's the biggest game? I don't know if you watch these kinds of videos, because I definitely do. What's the biggest game that people always go out and they try to put their gaming computer to the test? Is what I always see is people say, oh, well, this can get this many frame rate, this much frame rate in Crysis 3. I lost Cliffy Nut. We lost Cliffy Nut here. All right, guys. So we lost Cliffy Nut there for a little bit. His internet straight up pooped and died. Yep. But he's back.
I gotta get back in because I have to land the airplane.
Yep. But what were we talking? We were talking about so when people are building their PCs and they want to go ahead and show how well their PC is like how well their PC plays games. One game that I always see benchmarked is Crisis 3, which is a game that came out in 2013. So back in the old console versions, the Xbox 360 and the PS3 and whatnot. But they made the game with so much potential, so much limit. It's still driving tests for these new stuff. Are you just getting in here? I see the plane starting to turn now. The plane is definitely turning now.
I don't know if I can join your aircraft though.
Why not?
You probably don't have your you probably don't have it set so I can join your aircraft.
I never changed the settings that you had.
Okay, I don't know how to join your aircraft though.
You just you hit pilot, and then you say yes. It'll show you the players, and you just hit you click on my name. It should say join aircraft.
Okay, hit.
And then show you the password.
Pilot. I don't see your name though.
No, just hit continue.
Okay. Oh, there's your name. Oh, I can't join your aircraft.
You can't?
All
right. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Just kind of sitting out here.
We're gonna keep going.
God.
I'm gonna pretend that we're gonna be fine. All right. So, PC pros, Brent.
PC pros.
As if they're
you have a lot more freedom to it.
Well, here let's start off. I said this can, and we'll also say this could be a PC con as well, but price. So this is a pro and a con for a reason. You have it's not like console where you just straight up you have one package to select and you just buy it and you're rocking and rolling. This one, PC. If you want to build your own PC, I've built several PCs myself, and it's really not that hard to build a PC, but you get so much. People, here's a big thing that people always say: well, if I want to buy a gaming PC, I have to spend $1,000 or this much money. You don't have to spend that much money. If
you want it to run certain games, you probably will.
Certain games, if you're looking for certain specs on your computer, you're going to have to spend a certain amount of money. But if you want a PC that can match whatever frame rate or whatever games that you want to play on a console, you can buy all your parts and you can get a PC for the same price as a console, possibly even cheaper than a console. Or you can upgrade in the future, or you can just buy a better PC and not have to worry about upgrading it. The choice is all I just want to make it clear, you do not have to spend $1,000 to buy a PC that can play, the best video games, and it's a lot more flexible on price. And that's also where we're gonna get into a con about that later. But another big pro, Steam.
Yeah, Steam is huge.
If you don't play on PC and you don't know what Steam is the application that most people who play PC use to buy their games and to run their games, is through Steam. And every winter they have a Steam winter sale. Every summer they have a Steam summer sale. They also have different spring sales, fall sales. They have weekly sales. They have daily sales. You can get so many games, especially just games that just came out, brand new games. You can get them very cheap compared to if you just walked into Target and you had to pay $60 if you wanted to get this new game. You can just wait 2 weeks. It'll be on sale.
Yep.
Odds are. Also, we were talking about exclusives earlier. If you want to talk about PC exclusives, people might not think of one, right off the top of the head. I'm gonna say this one, and it's not exactly an exclusive, I know. I'm gonna say Minecraft. And people, well, I can play Minecraft on my phone. I can play Minecraft on my Xbox. I can play Minecraft on my PlayStation.
Yep.
Brent, you have played Minecraft on PC, and you have played Minecraft on Xbox. Have you played Minecraft on your phone?
I have.
I have as well. Now, what can you tell me about all of these Minecraft? What of all of them? What do you think? And this is all subjective. What do you think is the best way to experience Minecraft?
Minecraft on the PC, definitely. No,
most hands down.
Hands down. No.
I don't even like. I don't want to get into all the different reasons why I think that or why we think this, but it's definitely
you can do more.
You can do, and that's not even just Minecraft. That's in general PC. You can do more. The Fallout 4 has announced that they will be bringing mods to the console. And before this, and this is a big thing. Before this, I have not seen mods, player-made mods, come to consoles before. Especially not in such a big way. But that's a giant pro for PC. In my opinion, is that and a lot of people like, I just want to play the game. I don't really care about mods. Mods ruin the game, or mods aren't that fun. That's very, very subjective. I know this. But just about any game that you can get on PC, you can get a mod for on PC.
Yep.
You can get thousands of mods for some games. They have giant modding communities who are all they improve the game, not even just in a way by adding more content, but certain games, like say Fallout New Vegas, one of my favorite games, it's not very well optimized on PC, but because of the giant modding community, not only did they add thousands of more hours of playtime for adding all this new content, but also they can fix bugs that, obviously Obsidian's not going to worry about this game that's this old, but the modding community is still worrying about it. The modding community is going to, make all these different mods that just make the game run more smoothly, make the game, you can get more frame rates, you can do this, that, the other thing. It's just very, very, it's just incredible what some things that you can do with mods is just absolutely incredible.
It is. I mean, you used to host a stream, and you still kind of do host a stream that plays custom zombie maps from World at War.
World at War came out in 2008 or 2000. It was 2008, I believe.
I think so.
So that game, since it's the beginning of 2016, so I'm just gonna say it's 7 years old, not 8. 7-year-old game, and we still play it because there's still new things to do that we've never done before. And let me also say this: one of the big reasons, the big reason, I actually got into PC gaming was World at War custom zombie mods, and I still do it. November 11th, 2008 is the date. Is when it came out.
It's when it came out. Okay.
Oh, that's actually the same. November 11th is the same.
Can you see me in front of you?
So November 11th. In front of you?
Yeah, in front of you.
No.
In the airplane? You can't see me?
Oh gosh, I just saw you. What was that?
That was an F-18.
Oh my lord. just start doing tricks around.
That's because you passed North Platte already.
I did?
Yeah, you've already passed it.
Well, that's fine. But
yeah.
Let's just keep going. We can keep chugging along.
Yep.
What are some of your biggest pros for PC?
You can do so much with them.
That's another. We were talking about application use. It's just not. People are like, oh well, you can do more with a PC other than just play video games, and then people want to bring up the argument, well, we're just talking about gaming because consoles are just for gaming. Well, now that they come out with the Xbox One, they come out with the PlayStation 4, they're already pushing for wants to be more than just games. It wants to be more than just gaming. It wants you to do everything on it. So now we're getting into the fair territory that we can talk about this. How much do you use your computer, not just gaming?
Oh, I use it for so much. Schoolwork, YouTube obviously is a big one.
Oh my gosh. I spend hours of my day on YouTube.
Yeah, me too.
You can. Are you going to hop on your Xbox One and write yourself a paper for school?
Totally.
Okay, that was sarcasm. It's obviously, other than just that, we were talking about emulators before. So all these and there's not really very great working emulators for like some of the consoles, but handheld consoles, phone emulators. I was talking about, I love playing Pokemon, and I do love playing Pokemon. I don't have to have my DS to play Pokemon because I can play it right on my computer because we have emulators. And people, once we start talking about mods now, people have player created Pokemon games. Like, it's just completely made from scratch that they made themselves. And
Yep.
That's not even just talking about Pokemon. That's talking about just the PC gaming in itself. The emulators, all of that is just mind-boggling.
Did you leave the game?
No, I'm still in. I'm just still flying straight. I don't even know where I'm going at this point. I'm probably going to Canada.
Yeah, you're on the right track.
And if we want to talk about exclusives, even thousands more exclusives on PC than there are on consoles. Other than, we said Minecraft, Rust is a big one that's gaining popularity now. I quite enjoy Rust. There's probably there's other ones that I can't think of off the top of my head. I could search PC exclusives, but you're just gonna get thousands. StarCraft is League of Legends, CS:GO, all of these really, really big titles you can't play on consoles. Now, and I'm not gonna just be. I'm not trying to sound all PC master race here, because their PC does have its cons, and like we said, price is one of the cons. Is, you can spend all this money. You don't have to spend all this money, but it's if I will say, if you just wanted if all you want, your one goal is, I want to play a game. I just want to play a game. I just want to get home from work, sit down on my couch, relax, play a game. You're not going to do that with a PC. You can hook up a controller to your PC. You can use Steam OS, and it'll look just like you're playing on a console. But that's another thing we're going to get into is setting it up. It's not as easy as a console. You don't just plug it in and just start playing. It doesn't take massive knowledge to set up a PC, set up a gaming PC, set up Steam, but it's not plug and play. It's not. It's definitely not something, If you want to play mouse and keyboard, you're not going to be sitting on your couch, just relaxing,
right?
Playing Civ 5. That's not what you're going to be doing.
I would highly recommend Civ 5 to anyone that wants to play.
Civ 5 is a good game, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
So, they have controllers. You can plug in your Xbox controller into. I use an Xbox controller for a lot of games that I play on PC.
I'm using an Xbox controller right now.
They have Steam controllers, which are actually what I've heard described as better for mouse and keyboard games like Civilization. If you've never played it, it's very mouse and keyboard heavy. But Steam controllers, from what I've heard, those like touch sensitive pads are really, really good for if you wanted to play like a mouse and keyboard game. Probably not CS:GO or anything like that, but so it's not impossible to do these things, but it's not ease of use. It's definitely price points could be an issue for you. if your one goal is I wanna play, you know, a couple games of Call of Duty or Battlefield, or not I just want to play, you know, Forza. I want to play racing games, or you want to play I just want to play a relaxing game, not really worry about it. I just want to get home from work and just relax a little bit before I go to sleep or something like that. PC could be the way for you, but it does have its cons.
PC. What else does PC? You have to. Well, I can't really say you have to buy a monitor for it, because I mean you have to have a TV for a console.
This is true. You have to get your own operating system. Windows is fairly expensive.
If you build it. I bought my PC. I didn't build it.
That's true, but like I was talking about Steam OS before, and you can run Steam OS. You can just run Steam in big picture mode, and it'll look like you're playing on a console. But if you have a MacBook, you can use Steam on a MacBook on Macs and whatnot, Apple computers, but the Steam library is very, very much limited if you have a Mac or if you have Linux operating systems, and you can't play all of your games on those specific ones. You're gonna want to get a Windows computer if you want to play most of the games on Steam.
Right.
Which I don't know. Steam made their own operating system for Steam specifically, and it runs Linux, so it can't even run 99% of the games that it's made to play. Which I never understood why they did that. Why that is how it is. It it doesn't make sense to me. PC cons, Brent. What do you have anything else?
I really don't have it. Well, like game developers make games for their consoles.
Yes,
and then they kind of morph it around the PC.
And they add, like they have the PC. They're like, oh well, we're really big on selling this to the consoles, and I guess we can port it off to PC. And they don't really. Sometimes the PC ports are better than the console ports, and this is all game dependent. Sometimes the PC gets a really, really bad port of a game. It does not run very smooth.
Grand Theft Auto 4 would be a very
Grand Theft Auto 4 runs shit on the PC. I'm just gonna say that. What I was talking Fallout New Vegas. It is fairly buggy on the console, but it's extremely buggy, extremely crashy on the PC.
That's another thing. Games crash a lot more on the PC. But I mean, the biggest thing for me is games don't really have, like, all the new games are always better than your specs on your computer. So you always have to be ahead of the game.
They're like when they're some of them when they're releasing these specs, and you're like, well, this is they're asking you to have 5 Titan Blacks in your computer, and that I can't. There's no game that has that. But you get so you're not going to be running them at the optimal level. You're saying they're building a lot of developers are building their games around the consoles, and then they add it onto PC. Even if it has a good port, it's going to be limited to what the consoles can run it at. And we said PC in terms of game development is near limitless. And if you're making a game and you're making it for PC, you can make it as big and expansive and as large as you possibly wanted it to be.
The person that has the PC has to have a PC that runs it, though.
Yes, that is true. If you want to play that game, you have to make sure that you have to have the right specs to run it. But another big thing is you can adjust so many settings on PC when you're actually playing your game. You can adjust all the different resolutions. You can adjust, and it's different than just like a little scroll slider that sometimes the consoles don't even get the little slider, where they can adjust what their game quality looks like. So if you don't have such a high-end PC, you don't have to run it at max settings. You can turn down the settings, turn down all the the visual effects and whatnot, and then you'll bump your frame rate up, and you can get a very, very playable frame rate, and it can be up, 60 frame rate, 60 frames per second, 45 frames per second, and all of that's going to be better than what you're playing on a console, because the console is capped at 30 frames per second. You can't get higher than that. But, again, if you just want to sit down and you want to play a game, you're not really going to care. I have to spend this much time trying to map all these controls on my keyboard, and I have to make sure I adjust all my settings so the game doesn't crash and so I get a good frame rate. You plug and play. And so now we want to wrap this up. We're going a little long. We want to wrap this up a little bit. Side by side, some of the pros and cons that we already mentioned. Side by side, price points. You can choose your price point on the PC, and consoles you're kind of limited, but it's a pro and a con for both of them, honestly.
Yeah.
You have to find what price point you're looking at. If you're like really set on, I can only spend this much money, maybe you can get a PC that works for you. Maybe I should just get the console and not worry about it. But then then you have to pay for your online fees. If you wanna play online, you have to pay for your account and all this other stuff. I feel personally, PC has a higher getting into the console or the platform itself. PC has a higher limit to get in, but once you're in, you don't have to upgrade that much if you don't really want to. If you spend a little bit more, you don't have to upgrade. You don't have to keep buying every month or every 12 months your gamer tag or your PSN name. The games are generally, you can find the games a lot cheaper, but consoles are going to be a little bit lower. You can get a nice cheap console, but then every game is going to be usually full price unless you can go down to GameStop. GameStop is really I have some mixed feelings about GameStop, but GameStop, you can get some cheap games on GameStop, but the games are generally going to be a little bit more expensive because you're not going to have all these awesome sales going on. And it depends where you can go to GameStop on Black Friday. You could probably get some pretty cheap games, same difference. But you have to also worry about paying your monthly or your yearly subscription on there. Yep. And so it's kind of iffy. It depends on the user for that one.
I think it just depends on the user completely.
Yeah, completely. For all of it, it depends completely on you guys. This is just what our experiences are, we think.
I prefer PC, but I am not against the console.
No, yeah, like a lot of people, whenever this conversation comes up, it's either you're a console fanboy or you're a PC master race, scrub, or I don't blah blah blah. And it's I think personally there's a play if some people want to say PC's better in every single way no matter what, and there should be no reason that consoles exist. And I think consoles exist for a reason, and the reason is and I say this lightly, casual gamers. And I'm not saying, oh well, if you're not playing on PC, you're obviously not hardcore. You're just a cat. I'm not saying that offensively by any means, but that's just what it boils down to.
Yep.
Other side by sides, exclusives. I almost bought an Xbox One for Halo alone. That's just me. I almost did. I'm still thinking about it, honestly. But
I am too. I mean, but
you find what games, if you really need to play this game, that console, you might want to look more into that console. This console might be good for you. This platform might be good for you.
Yep.
Other side by sides, in-game performance. A lot of people on PC just love boasting about how their frame rates are so higher and their games look so much better, and I will say they do. I can play so many games on that I've played on Xbox and I've played on PC, and I had my monitor set up so my monitor was split down the middle. The same monitor was split down the middle, having two different inputs. the input from my Xbox and the input from my PC, both running, uh, both running Fallout New Vegas at the same exact time, and I had some graphical mods installed for Fallout New Vegas, and I had all the settings cranked up, and I had all this other good stuff, and the game just it was night and day difference on which one looked prettier, and
but if you also have a very powerful PC.
But I also, and I will say, like I said, you don't have to spend a lot of money on your PC. I personally put a lot of money in my PC because what we said earlier, I use my PC every day for a lot of time. I spend a lot of time on my computer. So I was like, I'm going to invest. I'm going to spend my money on this because I know I'm going to be using it. I definitely got my money out of it. I spent around $2,000 on my PC, over upgrading as I go along and whatnot, and all my peripherals, my monitor and whatnot. You don't have to spend that much to get nearly as good of a rig, but that's just what I have. And if you're big on I can push all those settings to the max, but I like how much prettier it looks. And some people are like, well, it's not about, I don't really care about graphics. The game is awesome and I just want to play the game and I don't care about the mods. I don't really want to play the mods and the player made stuff, and I don't really care about, and that's your opinion. And then I think consoles would be good for you, and that's a good thing. Okay, it's not a bad thing.
Right. I would have to agree with that.
Is there anything that you wanted to say when we're wrapping up?
Not really. I have just successfully landed my F-18 Super Hornet in the middle of a cornfield.
I think I should start working on landing this thing. So let's see here. What am I doing?
I have it on autopilot. If you can figure out how to.
All right, so I'm just gonna do this real quick. So we're gonna be landing this thing right about here, wherever here is. Don't worry about that. So yeah, wrapping up, coming up to a conclusion. I think most definitely. Let's see here, engine controls. Yes, so just turn those off real quick.
I can see you circling above me.
Just turn those off real quick. Am I turning those up or am I turning them off?
Pull them back and then hit the two little red levers below them, down.
Alright, yeah, that's totally what I'm doing.
And then that will turn them off.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I can see you're in a descent.
That's what we want, though. We want to land this thing. Wrapping up conclusion-wise, like we said, everything that we said was all our personal opinions, what we think, our experiences. I definitely loved playing on my Xbox. And really at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be about what you're playing and who you're playing with, or no, it's not about what you're playing. It's more about who you're playing with, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I bought an Xbox because my friends had an Xbox, and that's how I got into it, and I didn't regret my decision. I had a lot of great times.
I think you know what the best way to go is?
What?
Buy both. There
Just
you go.
buy everything.
Buy everything, and there you go.
Oh my gosh. So, once I find out what I'm actually doing, I don't know.
You're at 11,000 feet right now. You just descended 10,000 feet in about 5 seconds. So yeah, and you keep going down.
This is beeping at me. Is this bad? So guys, if you actually want to learn how to fly a plane, this is obviously how you do it. If you're seeing this when you're in your cockpit of your plane, you're definitely doing the right thing. You're definitely doing something right here.
I can see you dropping below 10,000 feet.
Yep. So we're just gonna go ahead and do that. Is that you?
Where?
You in the F-18?
Yeah.
I think I need to do a barrel roll.
Oh my god.
So yeah, this is about wrapping up about wrapping up this this first episode of Flightcast. Overall, what's your overall verdict?
My overall verdict is I am currently trying to fly this airplane, and doctor's in the ground.
Yeah, there you go. That's how you land a plane, guys. How do I? Where's the emergency brake?
Just hold A on your controller.
Oh. There you go. That's how you land an air. Boom.
I'm upside down and I'm going into the ground now. Uh-oh. And dead. Alright. That was a good flight. Well,
well, hopefully you'll join us for some more shenanigans, and hopefully I won't have to land the plane next time.
Hopefully we'll see if my internet holds up.
If you guys have any other any suggestions for what we could do, what we could talk about for our next podcast, go ahead and leave them down in the comment section below. We can do another comparison talk, just like we did. We compared the consoles and the PlayStations in our opinions. Or we can do, if you like, a top 10 list. We're not 100% sure on what we're going to be doing next.
And
also don't forget to leave in the comments what you guys think about your experiences playing on consoles versus PlayStations or versus PCs.
And we would like everyone to know that we just kind of threw this together about 10 minutes before we started.
We straight up got the outline for what we were talking about. Rough draft, about maybe 2 minutes of actual rough draft work before we started recording. So most of what we were talking about was just blabbing on about just nothing. So don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But yep, we're off. See you guys.
See you guys.